Alright, it's been a while, but I'm glad to say welcome back to another episode of Buff Breakdown. Yeah, they seem to be doing buffs pretty rarely nowadays, which is kind of a shame. The last one was on like New Year's with Gilgamesh and Enkidu, I think, and before that, I don't even remember, honestly. So, yeah, they're kind of few and far between, but yeah, at least I can talk about this today. So, Mr. Emiya Alter himself got buffed with the Chaldea Boys event on JP. Didn't really see this coming. In fact, he does not even have a rate up right now, which is kind of weird. Maybe for week 2. But yeah, let's just get right on to the buff. This is a content today. Let's keep the train rolling. So they buffed his second skill, the good old rainbow buff. And I'm glad they did, because it was probably the worst rainbow skill in the entire game before this. So you can go again to the Archer tier list if you really want to hear my other thoughts about Emiya Alter, but let's talk about this skill. So before the buff, again, it was a 30% rainbow for 1 turn and a 5-turn cooldown. Not good. In fact, I would argue that this is worse than Mana Bursts as well. Because hear me out here. Mana Burst, it's only 1 card type, yes, depending on what it is, but it's always a higher number, obviously. And most of the time, because this is a 1-turn rainbow, you can't even use all of the effects anyway, right? Obviously, if you do get the Mighty Chain, great, then you have full value. But if you didn't, it immediately loses a lot of value, right? So, and it's a really big downtime. So this skill used to be, might I say, trash, but now they kind of fixed the main issue, and then they also added on to it. So now it's no longer a 1-turn rainbow, it's a 3-time 3-turn rainbow. It still stays on 30%, which I can understand with these changes. So now you can kind of just pop this and you don't really have to worry about it, because you're probably going to get use out of all those buffs anyway. Now, will you get all the hits from all of them in that 3 turns? I don't think so. Most of the time you will still not get the full value of the buffs, but this at least means you get value out of all of them regardless, which wasn't the case before this. And they also added a battery of 30%, which honestly, again, people will say it's a boring buff, and I agree to an extent, but in his case, I like it, because 1, his face card gains were kind of trash. He kind of struggles to get to his MP without, like, batteries from supports, etc. And his MP, because it has been buffed, it actually hits really hard. So with this means you can get to his MP again easier, and it's also on a low cooldown, usually 30% batteries on a 6-turn cooldown, so this makes his MP a bit more spammable, which again, great, considering his MP does a lot of damage. So, I think this is a great buff. 1, they fixed the awkward issue with the rainbow buff. It's now a lot easier to use, and the addition of the battery really pairs well with the MP upgrade from God knows how long ago. So, there you go. On my Archer tier list, I had him on a B. A bit savage, maybe. Would I say he's, like, worthy of an A right now? Maybe. But I feel like I'm gonna slide him into, like, B+ right now. But yeah, I think it's definitely worthy of a plus. And also another thing worth talking about is that this matches his other skills fairly well now, too. Which are mostly also based on hit and turn durations. Now these are like 3 things and then 5 turns instead of 3 for both of them, but this still matches way better than a flat 1-turn effect. And you gotta keep in mind they're also all on a 5-turn cooldown, so actually his uptime on the effects is definitely not bad anymore. I could see the argument for A, but I think I'm just gonna keep him in B+ for now. But again, good buff. I like it. Now let's hope that the next buff is not like 3-4 months away from this. Give us more buffs. There's still so many servants that could absolutely use buffs. So let's hope that this is now a trend that will keep going for a while. So there you go. Good buff. If you enjoyed this buff breakdown, do me a solid and press the thumbs up button on this video. I will, of course, make more of these as, when I can, when they make new buffs. So sadly, there hasn't been too many, but yeah, stay subscribed not to miss out on future buff breakdowns as well. And otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you for the sub as well. For sure, too.